Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how their enemy will blame everyone and everything else around them besides taking accountability for themselves. This has been going on for so long that most people are extremely low vibrational when it comes to even grasping the concept of what I'm trying to say. I'll take it from the most simplistic level first, which would be pertaining to the system. Every time any of us have an issue, we say they, them, the powers that be. We use they, them, the powers that be as a blanket statement. It's kind of a way for us to not point the finger at the real culprits, and it's also a way for us not to take accountability for our own actions. That goes for all of us, every single one of us. Because once we start learning and diving into some of this knowledge and information, we understand that changing the world, changing your environment starts within you. It starts in your atmosphere, your environment. So we can understand things on that level, right? The they, them, the powers that be. There is no powers that be if everybody held themselves accountable. If everybody was solid in a manner of, okay, I want to move more righteously. I'm not gonna shop at that store. I'm not gonna engage with that being. I'm not gonna touch those products. I'm not gonna occupy those locations. But instead, we all still come up with excuses as far as why we have to not take accountability. It's becoming extremely frustrating now with everyone blaming the internet. That's like me blaming the car and saying, the car's the problem, the car's the problem. No, it's the being driving the car. So now we have the internet here. I grew up without the internet. So for me, I didn't experience internet until, freshman year of high school? I want to say 9th grade. We had AOL dial-up, went from 3.0 to 4.0, 5.0, 5.5, 5.6, all that shit. You know, it was different. We literally just logged in through the dial-up. We would AOL message, basically text message through the computer. You know, none of us blamed the computers back then because they was all still new. So when we had weird conversations with each other, or somebody was getting exposed through, the AOL messaging, it was usually that person who was on the other end of the keyboard exposing themselves. It's the same thing now. Like, when I hear people keep blaming the internet, it reminds me of how retarded some people are. Yeah, the internet did this. It's because we have access to the internet to do that. And, if we didn't have the internet, then that wouldn't be a thing. And it's just like, bro, a lot of us wouldn't have progressed the way we progressed if it wasn't for the internet. It's not the internet that's the problem. It's the entities using the internet. Just like the guns aren't the problem. This tree is not the fucking problem. But I can go to this harmless tree, make a weapon out of it, and I could knock your motherfucking head off. Everyone keeps saying, oh, it's the internet fault. It's the internet problem. No, it's you not taking accountability for how you are carrying yourself as an individual. Just because somebody else is half naked on the internet don't mean you have to get half naked on the internet. Just because somebody else is sharing gossip don't mean that you have to share gossip. Oh, well, it's out there on the internet. So what? So what? A lot of people don't even know how to be a solid being, And this dumbass Western society just got everybody so lost. I was talking to the other chef at my job today. He was just talking to me about, he had the vid over this holiday break. And I asked him if he had took the, He said, yeah. I said, oh, okay. That makes sense that you have it. And I was just talking to him about it, and for me, I traveled that whole time that the vid was going on. Every week I was down in Florida. I was back and forth Florida from the time the vid happened. What was that shit, like March, April, February, March, April, sometime beginning of the year, all the way until like October. I was every other week. I didn't have to worry about blaming the system or blaming other entities outside of me. My belief system, the team that I rock with, kept me safe through that entire process. When I say through that entire process, I literally traveled from Virginia to Florida. Depending on what part I decided to go to, it's like 9 hours to like Jacksonville, which is top of Florida. And then if I was going lower down, like Clearwater or Tampa or somewhere, it's like 11, 12 hours, just a little bit further, not much. But I did all of that without the you know what I'm saying, without getting that shit. You know, I did all of that with, I want to say my inspection was no bueno. And if you're in Virginia, you have to have inspections. You don't need them in every state you go to. But I didn't even take care of that shit. I think I had when the vid happened, I was literally just testing the universe, my powers and abilities, and what the creator was allowing me to do and how protected I was. But I never once was operating, moving around through all of that chaos, and there's still chaos out here, in a space of, shit, I can't go there because the system fault. I can't do that because the system fault. Or, I can't do that on the internet because it's the system fault. Like, we could do what the fuck we want to do. You just have to be prepared for the consequences and repercussions, you know? And that's what anything in life. So if I'm at a space and time where, you know, somebody step on my shoes and there is no teacher or anybody else in play, then I could respond to that however I like to and see fit. You know, because we're not looking at we're not looking at some kind of higher authority doing something to us, you know. It's on us as far as what we want to do. And most of us, when we got one-on-one situations with other people, we tend to put ourselves in that space of men, as far as, do I want to get physical or do I not want to get physical? Do I want to yell? Do I not want to yell? All right, when I do this, what's going to be the counter to me doing that? And this is us just following natural law. We just following natural law. We just doing what fits the situation and circumstances without there being some weird systematic higher authority. And for a lot of us now, we are in a day and age where we're working and busting our ass as hard as we can to create this shift. You know, we operating in a more righteous light. We pushing out a lot more love. We pushing out a lot more honesty. You know, we understanding that you will be the, I don't want to say black sheep, but you will be the chosen one among your peers, your family, your friends, etc. All of that will be happening. You know, if we was blaming the internet and the system for everything, then a lot of us wouldn't be in the space where we at. And in all actuality, it's kind of just part of natural law. Like, if there was no system in place, it's, you know, whoever got the biggest spirit. You don't have to have the biggest muscle, but the biggest spirit is usually connected with God, the creator, moving more righteously. You know what I mean? So understanding these things, it helps take you to a whole new level. It helps bring you more peace within. It allows you to not be able to turn up so quick when you hear certain trigger words. You know, for me, when I was talking to the other chef, he had said something similar to a trigger word. Or you just don't believe those people that you be listening to or watching on the internet. And I would just think, or YouTube or some weird shit like that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, bro, why would I care for believing and listening to the doctors? That don't make sense to me. They've been killing us. So why would I put all my trust, faith, and belief into them? Because I know what their belief system is. Their belief system is demonic. Hey, I'm going to drug you up. I'm going to break you down. It's a very simple process. You have very few doctors that are actually trying to help people. Outside of that, the rest of them is in it for the check. For the check. Why you think it's so easy for them to just come over to you and be in your face and just be like, you know what, such and such, your child didn't make it, And it's like, you should have a better process for telling people these things. It's a hospital. They come to you in a waiting room. It's not like they have some special private area where it's kind of like manicured to the beings who are dealing with people moving on to their next journey. Because a lot of people go to the hospital. If they're not moving on to their next journey, they're seeing somebody who just moved on to their next journey or somebody that's getting ready to go. It's a percentage of beings that get up out of that hospital, And for me, I knew not to get too triggered because I already understood, he had the all up in there. So when you get that all up in there, you already know the rest of the stuff that comes with it, So, and my thing is with that, it's like we already knew that they lied to us in the books that they wrote. We already know that they lied to us about a lot of information that's out there. So if we all understand that the Tuskegee experiments was real, and that's just one, that's just off the top that I processed just now. If we all understand that that's factual, we know other things that's factual, but if we understand that, and there wasn't anything done to the doctors, to the system, there was no consequence or repercussions, then we should already understand that they don't give a fuck about us. So now we have to understand that, all right, stop blaming the tools. It's the individual, it's the entities. Don't blame the gun, blame the person behind the gun. Don't blame the car, you gotta blame the driver. Don't blame the internet, blame the people that's using the keys behind it, And it's always these word spells that we are allowed to say, to cast out to the universe to help us, duck things and then not take accountability. And that's something that we have to work on, all of us. And for the witchy motherfuckers and for us that's moving in this light. Because some of us get in this light and we get stuck with just pointing the finger over at the other side and not, taking more accountability on ourselves and for what we should be doing ourselves. And we already know the fight is going to be a little bit harder for us because we're actually more aware of what's going on out here. And we're fighting for more than just ourselves. I was telling a buddy of that mine yesterday, he was talking to me about some knowledge and information that I already knew, but I'm already cool bouncing, having that conversation with him. But it was more so on the fact that I want to say I lost my point, so I'm not going to dive too much further in there. There's a lot of activity out here. Damn. I was going somewhere at that point, but that's part of the process. I knew me and him was talking about something yesterday. We was bouncing ideas back and forth about something. And he was explaining something to me that I already had knew. And I was just kind of reiterating to him, some of these things that you're discussing, I already know. You're not like teaching me anything new, but it's always good to kind of reiterate some of this information because it's a lot of bullshit that gets, regurgitated back outwardly into the universe. So it's a process, It's all a process. He was telling me how he was working with his mom and she had diabetic and trying to get her right, blah, blah, blah. And he had told his mom because she was being like not receptive to the information he was saying about the sea moss and all these other things to help with the blood thinning. And he was just like, yeah, my bro, he would love to hear this conversation because he knows how I always communicate with him, because it starts with us. We have to have the starting point somewhere. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those conversations where the accountability was getting pushed off to all the things that was happening around us. So, like being in prison and jail, that it's an authority, it's a physical authority. They're using physical measurements to kind of maintain and sustain you. You know, we have the same thing out here in this realm, but it's just not as in your face, so people feel a little bit more subjugated to think that they have more free will than they actually do. And I don't want to take away from free will. We all do have it. It's just a lot of us rather not deal with those consequences and repercussions. If you're a person that has to drive 45 because the speed limit say 45, that's you. Nobody said if you go 50, 55 that you're hurting or harming somebody. Somebody had to set that speed limit. Following the demonic man laws doesn't take away from what the Creator has in store or natural law. You know, if I said nobody tie their shoes, and then everybody was coming around my neighborhood and they had their shoes tied, do you think the Creator gonna look at them like, you know what, yo, you guys aren't listening, you guys aren't following the rules, you know, I'm gonna send you to that other place? You know what I mean? That's not how it works, you know. And then once you understand these things, it'll kind of keep you from just putting yourself in a weird space and putting out and fighting energy that you shouldn't have to. You know, we need as much energy as we can. We need to learn how to preserve our energy. We need to know how to stretch our energy. We need to know how to put some out there, pull a little bit back. We need to learn how to stop dumping our tanks out all the way. We could think of a lot of things that we're all been working on, but the most important is stop blaming these physical objects and entities, you know? It's not the internet fault. It's the beings who have no self-control, no self-discipline, the people who lack integrity. You know, if I'm constantly watching gossip and drama, then I'm feeding it. It doesn't matter if it's entertaining. Find something else to fucking watch that's entertaining. But you're feeding it, so that means you're part of the problem, you know? But I ain't want to run it up too long, you know what I mean? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the king.